Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 3437. Today's date is 3rd of June 2025. It's been almost like night at 9:53 p.m. We directly jump into the question. Let's go. Okay. Question is, how can I use business plan to attract investor in India? Okay, that's a really good question. Okay, so what is actually this question and what is actually this thing? Okay, so this question is about the business strategies and yeah, like I wanted to learn business. I don't know nothing really about anything about business. In future, I have to do a business. I have to do a startup. Okay, and for that thing, I really need to prepare myself to regarding about what will gonna happen in the future. Okay, yeah. So that's why I'm kind of like asking these questions to myself. I will not gonna talk about what is actually my idea, what is actually my business, what is actually is this thing, because I already talk about this thing in previous artifact. So I will directly jump into the answer. All right, yeah. So what kind of like a stuff do I need to kind of like a somebody get some sort of investment for my startup? Okay, there are a couple of things I need to understand. Okay, first of all, quick overview. Okay, what's a quick overview? A quick overview regarding about my kind of like a something my business. Okay, first of all, what is actually my business? I just have to explain this thing. Okay, in very less and less word. So how do I supposed to explain this thing? Okay, hello sir. My name is Saurabh Bauthare. The business plan that I'm talking about is a my artifact. It's a kind of like a something the application where people gonna record artifact. Artifact means kind of like a something the people usually wrote the diary every single day. I'm just change that writing into the recording means people could record their artifact. Okay, means record their thoughts. I call them as a artifact. Okay, so in my application, people can usually record their artifact, and other people could listen those artifact too. Okay, yeah. Also, my app will kind of like provide the privacy to the customer so that even if at the spur of the moment they kind of like mention some sort of name or other name, it might gonna kind of like some problem for them to reveal the identity and things like that, because our thoughts are kind of like a raw, unfiltered, and which is not really good. Okay, yeah. But another thing is that our thoughts is really unfiltered, but it is really good for people to connect, and that is what kind of like a something no other platform could kind of like a something sharing these thoughts. Okay, yeah. So this is what kind of like a something my artifact. Okay, yeah. So this is I am this is my kind of like a very quick overview regarding about my application. Okay, am I explaining this thing properly? Yeah, properly I'm explaining this thing, but still I just have to refine this thing even more further. Okay, yeah. Now next question, what is your business? Okay, yeah. Like explain the study, explain the simply what company does and what kind of like a problem. Okay, yeah. So what kind of like a somebody explain like what kind of like a some problem that you solve while you are building this app? Okay, okay, so basically I'm solving the kind of like a some problem which is people are having, but people don't really knew it they had a problem. Like example is this thing that we are in living such a world where people are kind of like a somebody really alone. Okay, yeah. Like this generation, Gen Z generation, Gen Alpha generation are kind of like a such generation where they don't really have any friend, they don't really have anything at all. Okay, yeah. And it is kind of like a some very problematic for those they don't really have any kind of like a some people, so that they would kind of like a some share their thoughts and things like that. My application is kind of like a provider such a safe platform, they would kind of like somebody share their thoughts and things like that. So this is kind of like a problem that I'm solving. Okay, yeah. But there is also another question that arise that why not other platform, like why not Instagram, why not YouTube? Well, probably is this thing that Instagram, YouTube is a kind of like a simply platform that you can share your thoughts, but you really require some sort of courage to share, to kind of like a simply show your face too. Okay, yeah. Yeah, literally just like that. You just can't just say the word and things like that. You really require some sort of courage to show your face, and this is what kind of like something most of people are bother. Okay, yeah. So that's why Instagram or YouTube is not the kind of like a something a platform where people could kind of like share their deep thoughts and things like that. So this is what kind of like a something my artifact or my application is kind of like a solve this problem. Okay, as well as also another thing is that ki I am doing this kind of like a recording this artifact for almost like a decade of experience. I am recording this thing every single day, and because of this thing I gain so much amount of values and information and knowledge, and I don't know how do I supposed to explain this thing, because when I record the artifact I connect with myself, because I just understand in our entire period of lifetime we might there is only one person that we don't really knew that much, and that person is you. Okay, that person is ourself. Okay, yeah. Artifact is a kind of like a simply way that people actually connect with themselves, and they will try to know them much better what they want in their life. Okay, yeah. Most of people are kind of like a somebody don't really know what is actually purpose and things like that. Artifact will kind of like a somebody connect with themselves so that they would find that what is actually purpose in their life, and they would try to figure it out. They would try to find that kind of like assembly purpose. Okay, so this is what kind of like assembly my application will solve this kind of like assembly problem. Okay, yeah. Now another question is that who are your customer? Okay, yeah, that is really good question. My customer are mostly kind of like a people who are young people. Okay, yeah, these are kind of like a people are young people who are kind of like a willing to record this thing. Okay, let me tell you why young people. Okay, yeah. Because in our entire period of lifetime, okay, one of the crucial decision of entire period of lifetime has to be taken in 20s. Okay, yeah, like who do we supposed to marry, what kind of like a career or education and everything, very crucial kind of like a decision is actually happening in this particular age range. Okay, yeah. And at that time people are kind of like a something they are not really matured, or they are kind of like a really matured, or they don't really know what exactly is this want, because there are things happen so fast that they don't really cope up with the what kind of like a stuff they needed or things like that. Okay, yeah. Artifact will kind of like help them to kind of like take the wise decision regarding about what we're gonna choose and what kind of like some stuff that they want. So probably for me, like basically everyone should supposed to be customer, but my deep customer are 20s people. Oh, means like that from the age of 20 to age of 29 to, yeah, then rest of the people. Okay, but still these are the main customer. Okay, these are the main target people. All right, yeah. Next question. uh who is your rival or any kind of like a villain or any kind of like a competition? Regarding about my application, I don't really found any kind of like a something the rival at the moment. Okay, there is a kind of like a some application who kind of like a serve some sort of something purpose like a clubhouse. Clubhouse is a kind of like a some app that, but it's a very different medium. Like a in a clubhouse you are kind of like a somebody connect as a meeting. Okay, and you could talk, you would share, but it kind of like a something depends on other people, like they allow you to talk and then you could share, and probably it's a very different thing. It's a audio based platform too, but it's a very different game. Okay, yeah. But at the moment I don't really have any kind of like a rival who is kind of like a serving the same purpose exactly like my application. No. Then another question is that how do you sell it? What is actually your action plan? Okay, so how do I sell it? Like a, it's not a kind of like a some physical product that I could sell. No, it's a kind of like a digital product that people could supposed to be use. Okay, yeah. So my purpose is that they should supposed to be record their artifact. Okay, yeah, that is my kind of like a simply one of the kind of like a things that they will get some sort of values while they record the artifact. Okay, yeah. So the question is that what is like a who will how will you sell it? Okay, yeah. um I don't know, I don't really get it, because it's not a kind of like a something a digital product at the moment. Okay, it says that explain how you reach your customer, like online ads or social media. Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, it's a kind of like a something. Okay, how will you Okay, so probably at the moment I will gonna kind of like a simply mostly use word of mouth. Okay, yeah, because um I will gonna use social media advertisement. Okay, yeah. But I have to be make sure that ki I make a such advertise which is kind of like a something that ki I don't want that ki people should supposed to be do forcefully. No, nothing like at all. Okay, yeah, because artifact is a kind of like a something things that should supposed to be happen from inside of you. Okay, yeah, it's a kind of like a only self reflection. Okay, yeah, and basically this is actually happen when you are not forcing yourself. If you are forcing yourself to do that thing, then it might not gonna work, or it might not gonna add that impact for recording this thing. Because I'm like basically what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that ki when you start recording artifact and when you are doing this thing every single day, it became habit, and you just can't even stop it. You just like you just have to do it. You just have to do it every single day. So it's kind of like a somebody is this thing na ki at the beginning it was kind of like a somebody very difficult for the people to record the artifact, because at the beginning people are really kind of like awkward when they talk with themselves. Really awkward. Like when I started recording artifact, it is like a really awkward for me. But it's just like if like I really drive inside of me that if I'm being really consistent, then I will be kind of like a something gain some sort of values and things like that, and I get some sort of values. But at the beginning it was really awkward to talk with myself. So probably is this thing now for marketing purpose, or how do I supposed to sell my this digital product, is kind of like a mostly depend on word of mouth. Okay, yeah, mostly. But still I would gonna do kind of like a simply social media advertisement. Okay, I will not gonna do those television or nothing really at all, because television are kind of like a something for very large number of audience, and I don't want that. Okay, yeah, I'm literally focused on kind of like a such a people who are kind of like in 20s, and mostly the people who are in 20s are actually use social media. So I'm literally focused on social media advertisement. So this is how I kind of like sell my digital product. Okay, yeah. Now, who is your team? Okay, who is your dream team? Okay, at the moment, I don't really have any dream team. I don't really have any kind of like some person who is kind of like a doing the work for me. Okay, yeah, but I will gonna have a kind of like a some team who will kind of like do the work. Okay, but at the moment, I don't really have it. Okay, yeah, and I will make sure that the whoever kind of like a team I will gonna have is really best of them. Okay, yeah. Okay. Now the money stuff. Okay, the money stuff. Okay, this where you ask for money and explain exactly how will you use it. Okay, yeah, how much money do I need for kind of like a something, how much money do I need for kind of like a investment and things like that. um okay, I'm not really sure about at the moment. Okay, yeah, because yeah, I wanted to build the app. Okay, yeah, it doesn't really cost that much, but the problem is that key regarding about the servers and maintain. Because let me tell you one thing, is a data driven application, means like that people will gonna record the artifact and things like that. So someday that the data will should supposed to be saved at somewhere at some at server. And another thing is that key my application is a AI driven application. AI driven application means like that key if I wanted to introduce the privacy, that means I have to be kind of like a invest money on AI, so that kind of like somebody AI will do work for me. AI will kind of like maintain the privacy in the artifact and things like that, because this is the only way that I could do this thing. So regarding about this all those things, I don't really have any kind of like a proper number regarding about. I don't really have any proper quotation regarding about money, that how much do I need. But when I kind of like have that proper thing, because I haven't really started, it's a kind of like a somebody that I'm practicing right now, that what kind of like a somebody things and that. Okay, yeah, but at the moment I don't really have it. Okay, yeah. How to use your business plan and get the money. Okay, make simple and clear. Okay, use easy to understand language, don't use too much okay, yeah. So I have to be kind of like a something really use a kind of like something very easy to understand language. Well, I did now, like I kind of like a use very simple language. Okay, highlight your strength. Oh yeah, what is actually your strength? What is actually the application has its own strength, like like what is actually that strength. One of the really like a biggest strength in my application is the recording artifact. Okay, yeah. It's just like that na ki, what I'm trying to tell you is this thing. It's a kind of like a something, at the beginning the value of using my application is really less. Like if I'm trying to tell you 100 out of maybe 4% or 5% interest. Okay, yeah. But when you start recording the artifact, okay, and you are getting some sort of values, okay, yeah, then you started continue every single day, then probably the interest level is increased. Okay, you are connect with this application so deeply that you are gonna explain everything regarding about your life things and something like that. Okay, yeah. And that relation between you and your artifact is so much that you can't give up. Okay, yeah, it's a kind of like a someone improving yourself, becoming better yourself, and you love when you're talking with yourself. Okay, yeah. But still it takes time. It takes at least like a 6 months to kind of like a some be comfortable with yourself and things like that. Okay, yeah. So recording artifact is my highlight. Okay, yeah. Another thing is that ki, show off your team. Okay, yeah. Okay, so regarding about team, do I have a team? I don't really have any team. Okay, focus on big opportunity. Yeah. Okay, so what kind of like assembly opportunity do I create while creating this app? Okay, so it's a kind of like a some very big opportunity. I don't know why, but I just feel like that it's a very big opportunity. Why? Is because of that ki, um wait, it's a rain is actually pouring right now. Okay. Okay. So what is actually big opportunity? Okay. So right now we have kind of like a couple of social media: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Well, Facebook era is gone. Okay. At the time, no one is actually using Facebook. Instagram is a social media platform. Twitter, yeah, sorry, Twitter is also really social media platform too. And YouTube is also kind of like a social media platform too. Okay, yeah. But all those platforms are kind of like a something meant to be show your craft or creativity or show your kind of like a something things that you want. Okay, yeah. But kind of like a something the recording thoughts and being improve yourself and stuff like that, there is no application are here, so competition is nothing really at all. And another thing is that as I mentioned earlier, recording artifact and gain some sort of value is a kind of like a something the value that customer or the people would get is a kind of like a something so incredible that other application didn't really provide that thing. Okay, and it's a really good thing too, because when you are trying to connect with yourself, when you understand your self reflection, you know yourself much better. As a scientifically talking with yourself is also really essential. Being a gratitude, being a kind of like a understand yourself is also really essential too. So from the science point of perspective, it is also really good to talk with yourself so that you would understand things better and you will take wisely decision for yourself and things like that. Okay, so I think this application will kind of like add so much value to the people and things like that. So I think that now it's a kind of like a sort of very big opportunity. Okay. Then be realistic. Okay, don't make a too much number and things like that. Okay, financial prediction. Okay, be realistic. What kind of like a realistic up number that you are thinking regarding about the number that you will get, or regarding about the people who would kind of like started recording? What kind of like some people will like at the beginning? How many people will gonna start recording and things like that? Okay, so I think that na ki at the beginning of the moment, like if I just launch the app and probably if I just do the kind of like some social media marketing, probably it will add at least like a maybe 100 people. Okay, will gonna record the artifact. Okay, yeah, just 100 people. 100 people for within almost like a 3 months. Okay, that's a very less number. Okay, yeah, but this will gonna happen because at the beginning the people will might gonna record very less, and that is definitely true. That is for sure. Okay, yeah. After the 3 months, might be almost like a maybe 100 to 200 people will gonna kind of like something started recording artifact. Okay, yeah, like basically within a 6 months I will gonna kind of like a get as minimum as like a like at least like a 400 to 500 people will gonna record artifact. 400 to 500, that's it. Okay, yeah. uh and within a year probably get almost like maybe 2000 people will gonna record artifact. And I'm talking about just in India, because I don't really think that ki like basically I just have to look at the number. If the people who are kind of like really interested regarding about the global and things like that, then I will execute. But within a year I will gonna achieve maybe like a 1000 or 2000, that's it. Okay, and within a second year I might gonna achieve like a maybe like a 10,000 probably. Okay, and after third year, then kind of like some exponential thing happen. Okay, after third year might be kind of like a some 10,000 people or more than that. Okay, yeah, but this is gonna happen like a, it kind of like a something improve regarding to the time, because at the beginning it's a bit really awkward. Okay, so people will might not gonna use this application for a lot, but whoever the people will gonna record this thing, they will kind of like a simply do word of mouth to the other people that what kind of like somebody really good and this and that, and people will gonna start recording artifact. Okay, yeah, so at the beginning the number of user being really less, but respect to the time it will gonna add. Okay, yeah. Another question is that ki know your audience. Okay, what kind of like a something, okay, audience means like that investor. Okay, yeah. Like basically I am try to ask money from the investor, so I should supposed to be understand regarding about investor too, like who is he and kind of like a something that ki how much that investor could supposed to be invest money or not, or kind of like a something understand his previous investment, that ki what kind of like a person he is, where he has a passion of interest regarding about investing money. Because every investor is kind of like somebody doesn't really invest anything at all, he invests such a money regarding about how much he get profit and things like that. Okay, yeah. So I will not gonna kind of like a somebody chasing a such a investor who is kind of like investing so much amount of money. Because one thing for sure is that at the beginning of this application, people might not gonna use this application for at least like a 2-3 years. So I have to be kind of like something understand that ki for the 2-3 year I have to be kind of like a gain some sort of loss and things like that. Okay, so I have to be kind of like a something kind of like asking for such a investor that key they should supposed to be bear the losses for at least at the beginning of the year. If they could, then probably we should go further. I'm not kind of like a simply giving you false hope and things like that. If you're okay, that's it. Okay, if you're not okay, yeah. And as also I'm actually thinking that key probably regarding about the investor and things like that, I know money is really matter, but I am kind of like a something how kind of like something solution for that. I am a content creator. Okay, I'm a graphic designer. Okay, at the time I don't really have that much money, but within almost like a 2-3 year, I'm gonna start some sort of amount of money, and whatever the money that I will gonna earn from the social media, I'm gonna invest that money to build my app and things like that. Okay, yeah. Obviously, the money that I earn from the social media is probably very far less, but this is what kind of like a somebody the really good thing for me at the moment. Because let me tell you one thing, if I'm kind of like asking such a investor to invest money and kind of like a something that he will gonna face the losses and things like that, because definitely at the beginning that person or me or my company will gonna face the losses. Okay, at least a 5 year. And this is kind of like a something the business rule for everything. Like you will not gonna grow within a kind of like a year or things like that. It will take time, and for my application it will take at least like a 5 year for understand and things like that. So it will gonna face a lot of losses and things like that. So I have to be find a such an investor who is kind of like somebody capable enough to gain that losses and things like that. Okay, or sustain that losses. Okay, and I'm gonna kind of like a speaking very wisely. If that person is okay, then we proceed further. If it's not, that is not okay, that is okay too. Because whatever the money that I will gonna earn, I will gonna invest, and I will gonna scale up regarding about the money that I have. Okay, yeah, that's it. And also another thing, I will gonna utilize the government schemes and yeah, like Indian government are actually providing lot of kind of like a something schemes for the startup business, so that they would kind of like a something sustain for little bit period of time. So I will gonna utilize that thing. Okay, yeah. but still, okay, money is always be a matter, money is always be a kind of like some problem. But I will gonna find such an investor who is kind of like somebody capable enough to sustain 5 year of losses at the beginning of my application. Okay, at the beginning of when I invest the things and something like that. All right, yeah. Okay, and then network. Okay, that is also really good thing. What's the network means like that na ki if you wanted to establish your app, okay, and things like that, okay, you need a kind of like some money. That is true. Okay, yeah. You will not gonna find a kind of like a somebody investor who at the LinkedIn or things like that, and you will not gonna approach this thing with a nothing like that. Also, one of the kind of like a somebody greatest way to build the network, you have to attend the kind of like a something startup event and things like that. There is so many startup event is actually happen in the Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, Pune, vagara vagara. So I have to be attend there. I have to be kind of like a try to connect with the investor, figure it out what they want and things like that. Try to pitch your idea and things like that. If it good, that is okay. If it not good, yeah. But it just important is that ki network is really essential for kind of like somebody finding the investor and things like that. So yeah, but this would be kind of like a, somebody my CFO's job. Probably it's not my job, but dude, you shouldn't supposed to be say that thing. Okay, nah, like like you should supposed to be focus on all those factor. Financial things are really essential too. You are not focused on just a creativity and kind of like a somebody just adding value to the customer and things like that. You have to be more focused on the realistic approach to money is also really essential. If you don't really have money, how do you supposed to kind of like a run your application? How do you supposed to give the salary for your people, for the people who are actually working at your startup and things like that? Like it's not that too much amount of people, maybe 4 or 5 people. So probably 4 or 5 people are actually cost little bit amount of money too. So yeah, this would be a kind of like a something problem, but still I think I would be kind of like a something figure it out that problem too. Okay, yeah. So these are something way so that my plan to attract the investor, this is the kind of like a stuff that I do probably. All right, this is it. I should supposed to be end here, and thank you.